What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin Breeze here, and in this video we're going to be comparing the BLU R2 Plus 2019 to the BLU Vivo Go. Now both of these devices are from BLU Products, which is a company that specializes in budget smartphones. They've actually been around for a while, and they've almost been around for about 10 years now, so they definitely know what they're doing and they have a lot of experience in the industry. In fact, some of their more expensive devices are now being sold at Best Buy, so they're even getting picked up by national retailers. Now the BLU R2 Plus 2019 is available on Amazon.com for $99.99, and the BLU Vivo Go is available on Amazon for $79.99. So essentially there is a $20 difference in price between these two devices, and it's up to you to decide whether or not $20 is a significant difference at all. Really, in my opinion, $20 is small enough where I don't even consider these to be really that much different in price. But if $20 is a big deal to you when deciding on what smartphone to buy, then you can certainly take that into account during this comparison. Now both devices are available factory unlocked, but they're limited to GSM carriers. So in the United States, these are going to work with T-Mobile, AT&T, Metro by T-Mobile, and Cricket, and also some smaller regional GSM carriers, but they're not going to work with Sprint and Verizon and Boost Mobile. So if you use Sprint, Verizon, or Boost, then you're going to have to look elsewhere for your next smartphone. Now what's great about these being unlocked is that it's literally as simple as putting in your new SIM card, as long as it's activated, and you'll instantly be able to use these devices. So that's really a great thing. And then if later on you want to change your carrier, you can literally just take your old SIM card, pop it out, and put in your new one. So it's really simple and really great that these devices are unlocked and they're not pegged to a particular carrier. Now the BLU R2 Plus 2019 features a 6.2-inch display, and the BLU Vivo Go features a 6-inch display. So you can see, holding them up right up next to each other, you can definitely tell that the BLU R2 Plus 2019 on the left side here has a taller display. Now another thing too that's different about these devices is that the R2 Plus 2019 has a notch at the top, and the BLU Vivo Go does not have a notch. Now you can see that these two devices are actually almost the same size, but with that notch on the top, you do get a little bit more display, but it mostly houses the time, battery status, the Wi-Fi, and the cell signal. So you are getting an advantage with the display with the BLU R2 Plus 2019 over the BLU Vivo Go. Now both of these displays are 720p, so it's not like one's a higher resolution over the other. They're both the same resolution. They both have the same exact pixel density too. But you can see, looking at these displays, they actually look really good. So even though they are 720p, which some critics might consider to be kind of a downer about these, they're really great looking 720p displays. I mean, looking at these closely, you can really tell how sharp they look, and the colors are really great, nice and bright. That's something I've noticed with pretty much all of BLU's devices that I've reviewed. They always do a great job with the displays, so don't be concerned at all that either of these have a 720p display, because they're really great for consuming content, whether that's browsing the web or watching videos or maybe watching Netflix or YouTube. They're really great for all of that. Now, of course, since the display is taller on the BLU R2 Plus 2019, it does have a 19:9 ratio versus an 18:9 ratio on the BLU Vivo Go. But really, with both of those ratios, you're kind of getting a taller form factor here, a little bit taller and slimmer compared to your typical 16:9 displays. And that's kind of more of a modern design feature that we're seeing more and more in new devices that are coming out. So both of these devices definitely look very modern when you look at them. And, you know, they don't look old or ancient. I mean, that's kind of a good thing, in my opinion. So despite these two devices being budget devices, they're still designed with a 2019 form factor in mind. Now, of course, we're seeing the notch more and more on new devices that come out. That started with the iPhone 10, and now pretty much every flagship smartphone has a notch, or at least some other gimmick, I guess. I don't even know if a gimmick is the right way to call it, but for instance, the Samsung Galaxy S10 has the punch hole for the front-facing camera, but basically kind of this style that we see with the BLU Vivo Go, where it's just kind of a traditional top here, is kind of on its way out. It's kind of more of an outdated thing. But like I said, I mean, both devices still look really sharp. They both look really good. And they both have fairly small bezels on the top and bottom. Now, they both do kind of have the same sized lip here on the bottom. And they both feature on-screen navigation buttons. Up top here, the BLU R2 Plus 2019 features an 8-megapixel front-facing camera with a front-facing flash. And the BLU Vivo Go features a 5-megapixel front-facing camera with a front-facing flash as well. So they both have front-facing flashes. Now you might think of that as being kind of a bonus feature that they have front-facing flashes, and in a way it is, but they're kind of including front-facing flashes to compensate for these cameras not being incredibly great on the front here, because they don't really let in a lot of light. So the idea is that by having these flashes in the front, it kind of adds more light into the pictures. So that means that the front-facing cameras don't need to be as good. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, it is what it is. And they both have front-facing flashes, and you'll see later on in the video that I do a front-facing camera test comparing these head-to-head, so you can come up with your own conclusion on which one's better. Now, both devices feature 16 gigabytes of internal storage, and they both have microSD card expansion, so if you need more storage after the first initial 16 gigabytes, then you can always add a microSD card, and those are fairly affordable. Now, neither of these two devices feature wireless charging, which is to be expected for their price range, but they both have fingerprint sensors on the back side here. So you can see they're both pretty much in the same spot, but both devices have really good fingerprint sensors, and all you have to do is just lay your finger on the fingerprint sensor and it turns on the display. You don't even have to tap on the power button at all, assuming that the device is already booted up. Now I'll use the same finger on the fingerprint sensor in the BLU R2 Plus 2019. And you can see it did the same thing. It quickly turned on the display. So if you're big into using fingerprint sensors, just know that with these two devices, you're in luck because they're good. Also, the fact that these are on the back is not a bad thing at all. Don't be concerned about that one bit because the placement is pretty much right where your index finger is. So it's really easy to use these, and it's a really natural place where your finger normally rests. Now, I have noticed on other devices, sometimes they'll put the fingerprint sensor on the side on the power button, or for like iPhones, for instance, they'll have the fingerprint sensor on the home button in the middle, or even some of the newer flagship devices have a fingerprint sensor embedded into the display. But that's really not necessary here. I mean, these serve their purpose and you're not going to be disappointed at all. Now, the BLU R2 Plus 2019 has Face ID and the BLU Vivo Go does not have Face ID. So if you want to use Face ID, you'll have to go with the BLU R2 Plus 2019. Now, even though the BLU R2 Plus 2019 has Face ID, it's definitely not as advanced or secure as the Face ID that's found on the iPhone XS, because that uses way different technology, and some people have investigated into this deeper, and they've managed to spoof the Face ID on different Android devices just using a photo of the person. Now, just keep in mind that Face ID might not be the most secure method to keeping your device safe, but it's still good to see that it's available, and just know that the fingerprint sensor is way more secure. Now on the rear side, we do have different cameras on both of these devices. So the BLU R2 Plus 2019 features a 13 megapixel main camera and a 2 megapixel secondary camera, and the BLU Vivo Go features an 8 megapixel main camera and a 0.3 megapixel secondary camera. So you're getting much higher megapixels on the BLU R2 Plus 2019, and again, later in the video, we're going to do a comparison of the cameras in these two devices. I was out today filming and taking photos, but spoiler alert, the BLU R2 Plus 2019 takes way better photos than the BLU Vivo Go. Both of these devices have kind of their own version of portrait mode, but it really is kind of lame in my opinion, and it pretty much involves just blurring the edges of the photo and not really using the secondary camera a whole lot to enhance that effect, in my opinion. So it's kind of gimmicky, but I guess it's good to see that they have it on both of these. On the other hand though, I would have kind of preferred just to have one camera instead of two, and have that one camera be as good of quality as possible, instead of kind of dividing things into two different cameras. The BLU R2 Plus 2019 has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and the BLU Vivo Go has 1 gigabyte of RAM. So that does actually make a big difference. I mean, that's double the amount of RAM with the BLU R2 Plus 2019. Having more RAM is going to help a lot with running multiple applications at the same time and doing different things like web browsing especially. Also, going on social media and flipping between things like different Instagram pages is going to be way faster and way better with the BLU R2 Plus 2019. Now, both of these devices actually run the same processor, which is the MediaTek MT6739 processor. There's really nothing special about this processor. I mean, it's really a low-end processor, but it is power efficient, which means that you're going to get good battery life with both these devices with that processor, so that's something to consider. Now, both of these devices feature video recording that maxes out at 1080p at 30 frames per second, which is cool to see. The BLU R2 Plus 2019 features a 3000 mAh internal battery, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. and the BLU Vivo Go features a 2600 mAh internal battery, so a smaller internal battery on the BLU Vivo Go by 400 mAh, but really, both of these devices have impressively large size batteries. The BLU R2 Plus 2019 runs Android 8.1 Oreo, and the BLU Vivo Go runs Android 9 Pie Go Edition. So this runs a special version of Android called Go Edition that's designed for lower end devices, especially devices with only 1 GB of RAM. Now, from my experience of using Android Go Edition on multiple devices, I haven't noticed too many compromises with Go Edition versus normal Android. You're really going to be able to do most of the tasks that you normally do. But one of the bonuses is that you can install these Go Edition applications. Now, a lot of Google's applications have Go Edition versions of them. So you can see, for example, there's Google Go, Gmail Go, Go Assistant, Maps Go, and basically these are just kind of stripped down versions of the normal applications that will run better on lower end devices. So you won't get as much lag, and also these stripped down applications don't use as much storage in the device either. So there are a lot of bonuses with that. The cool thing though is that even if you're using an Android Go Edition device and you want to use a non-Go Edition application, you can download any application in the Google Play Store, so you're not going to run into any issues with that. Now that we've gone over the specifications of these two devices, let's now compare the hardware. So we kind of already went over the front on both of these devices, but essentially they both have 720p displays. There's a 6.2-inch display on the BLU R2 Plus 2019 and a 6-inch display on the BLU Vivo Go. They're both pretty similar in size, but the display on the BLU R2 Plus 2019 is definitely taller. They both kind of have the same sized lip here on the bottom, and then on the top there is less bezel on the BLU R2 Plus 2019. But you do get the notch, so if you don't like notches, then maybe the BLU Vivo Go is the phone for you. And again, both of these displays look great. They're great for Instagram, they're great for watching YouTube videos and Netflix and everything. And they're also very large, which is another bonus, so you're not gonna have to squint when you watch your movies. And again, up top here we have the front-facing cameras, so a 8-megapixel front-facing camera on the BLU R2 Plus 2019, and a 5-megapixel camera on the BLU Vivo Go, and front-facing flashes on both of these front-facing cameras. Taking a look at the left side of these two devices, we have the power saver and accelerate buttons on both, and we have the volume rockers. So let's actually go into the software here for a second and take a look and see how these buttons work. So basically when you tap on these buttons, you get two options here. So accelerate, what happens when you tap on that is it kills all applications running in the background, which is supposed to basically make your device run faster because nothing else is running. Now we'll tap on this again on both devices and go to power saver mode. And when you do that, the displays turn black and white on both of these devices. You lose certain functions like location status, and it's a really limited interface here where you can only call, access your contacts, messages, clock, and you can actually add other applications if you want, but that kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion, of power saver mode. But of course you can access other applications if you want to. But the idea here is that by having power saver mode on, you're going to get way longer battery life with your device. Now if you want to get out of power saver mode, it's really quick. You literally just tap on that button on the left side and you're instantly taken back to the normal interface and everything's back to normal. We have pretty much the same setup on the right side here of these two devices. So on both devices we have the door for the micro SD card and SIM card, and we have the power button. On the top of these two devices we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, and we have the micro USB port. It's kind of weird too to have the micro USB port on the top, but it's not a huge deal on the other hand. I mean, maybe it's a compromise that you have to make with a budget phone like this. And on the bottom, we have the microphone and we have the speaker. And it's funny because there's a little space here in the bottom of both devices where you'd think the micro USB port would be for charging, but it's not there. And then on the back side, we have the camera modules, we have the fingerprint sensor with the BLU logo, and we have another BLU logo here. So what's interesting is that both of these devices really have the same layout for all of the hardware. I mean, there's a lot of similarities here between these two devices. You can see pretty much everything is the same looking on the back, of course, minus the material. And then, all the buttons are the same, all of the ports are the same. It's almost like they started off the BLU Vivo Go, which was the first device of the two to come out, and then they just took kind of this design and added a notch to the top, and they gave us the BLU R2 Plus 2019. Now, this reflective material on the backside of the BLU R2 Plus 2019 is really cool. It's like a mirror basically. I mean, it's almost like a perfect mirror. So if that's a priority to you, if you want a mirror, here you go. You get a free one on the back of your device. Now the downside of this reflective backing here is that it picks up a bunch of fingerprints. So that's kind of a downer, but you know, the BLU Vivo Go also picks up fingerprints. So you're going to get fingerprints with either of these two devices. So you'll have to decide if that bothers you or not. But again, at this price point, you can't ask for too much. Alright, now that we've gone over the hardware and the specifications of these two devices, let's now do a real-world test to see which device of these two is faster. So we're going to start off by starting up the cameras on these two devices. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the BLU R2 Plus 2019 was quicker at starting up the camera. Let's now start up Google Chrome. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like in this test, the BLU Vivo Go is slightly faster, but not significantly faster. Let's now start up Yahoo. 1, 2, 3, go. In this test, the BLU R2 Plus 2019 was quicker at starting up this website. Let's now go to Engadget.com. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the BLU R2 Plus 2019 is quicker at starting up the website, but we'll wait until all the content is fully loaded. Video is already starting on the R2 Plus 2019. And we have an ad. Video is playing. Video starting. Okay, so basically the BLU R2 Plus 2019 is faster in this test. You can see the scrolling's pretty choppy on both. Not really very smooth, but it's another compromise you have to make in this budget price range. Let's pull up this article. 1, 2, 3, go. BLU R2 Plus 2019 is faster at starting up that article. Let's now talk about the photo and video quality of these two devices. So for my testing, I've kind of determined that neither of these two phones have very good cameras. So if you're really into taking photos with your phone, you might want to look elsewhere. But if that's not a huge deal to you and you just want a camera that works at the very least, then you'll be happy with either of these. But the BLU R2 Plus 2019 does have the better camera of the two. Especially for video. I noticed video looks way better on the R2 Plus 2019, like dramatically better. And the front-facing photos look better as well. You're going to get better colors with the BLU R2 Plus 2019. So I'm going to now cut to some video testing, and you can kind of compare those head to head. Alright, let's now go over what's included in the box for these two devices. First, I want to mention that both of these boxes look really cool. That's something I noticed that BLU does with pretty much all of their phones, is that they always have unique artwork on the front of their boxes. And they always seem to include a sticker for both. And you can see that these two stickers match the designs on the boxes, so that's pretty cool. Now, both of these devices come with a wall adapter, as you'd imagine. They also both come with a micro USB cord for charging and data transfer. Now, I didn't see a SIM card removal tool in the box for the BLU Vivo Go, but I've opened this multiple times, so maybe I lost it. I'm not sure, but you can use a paper clip if you can't find the SIM card removal tool. Here it is. This is the one that comes with the BLU R2 Plus 2019. And both devices come with clear cases, so that's cool to see. Now, it's always great to see a case included, even if it's not that great of a case. And I think one of the reasons why BLU includes a free case, of course, it's an added value to your purchase, but also, when people put these cases on their devices, the likelihood of them severely damaging their device goes way down. So it's probably a win-win for BLU. They probably don't have to hire as many people to, do customer service and support for their devices, because they don't break as often, because pretty much every device that they sell comes with a case, so the user will most likely put this case on their phone. So let me know in the comments if that makes sense. I think they include these cases as kind of a way of not having to do as much customer service, which isn't really a problem. I don't blame them. It's a good thing. But I think at the end of the day, these cases pay for themselves and save BLU money. Alright, so this concludes my comparison between the BLU R2 Plus 2019 and the BLU Vivo Go. I'm definitely interested to hear your opinions on these two devices now that I've had a chance to kind of put them up head to head. Now, in my opinion, I think the BLU R2 Plus 2019 is a much better value than the BLU Vivo Go, mostly because of how much faster it is. Even though it has the same processor, I think it's mostly the fact that this has 2 GB of RAM that makes it a faster device. But I think overall it's just a better device. It has better cameras. I like this notch on the top. I think it's pretty sharp. It's pretty cool. A cool looking design for the phone in general. And I just think it's worth the extra $20. Also, don't forget, this has an extra 400 milliamp hours of battery capacity, so yet another bonus here with the BLU R2 Plus 2019. But I think if you're trying to decide between these two devices, you should definitely go for the BLU R2 Plus 2019. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to buy either of these two devices or see the latest pricing for them on Amazon, then definitely take a look at the link in the video description. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure to sub to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a great day. Bye.